You may recall that last season, Joe Rotella showed us how to make some bee habitats. Well, this season, Erin Gerlach is here, and she has brought these beautiful, what I thought were bird feeders, but they're not. They're bee and butterfly feeders, which is different.
Right, it's a basin. So the idea behind a bird bath is that the birds take a bath in it, right, and get a drink of water. Bees don't actually want to take baths. That's not good for them, or butterflies, which is why we're making a basin, something that just holds water, not a ton of it, just enough that they can come get a drink and they can go on their way and pollinate like we need them to.
Cool. So how do we get started?
So the first thing you're going to want to do is pick something that can be your basin, and this could be a piece of stoneware. It could be, in this case, a pie plate. That I want
This
to...
is great thrift storing.
It is, or grandma's cabinet, whichever works. And we're not gonna worry about if there's print on it, because I can show you a way to fix that also, but you can leave it just like this if you want also. So you'll want to find a base. I like to use recycled pots, and if they're broken, that's even better. And there's another episode.
I was going to say, later this season, we'll be talking about repairing broken things and making them beautiful.
Correct, yes. So you could make something as simple as this and adhere this directly to the basin and then pick this up to clean it, or you can make the top removable, which is what I will show you to do, because this is kind of a one-step deal.
Okay.
You can also use other items if you like. If you wanted to make a bee bath, a bird bath.
You can actually make kind of like a totem pole of coolness. I really feel like, you know, I'm gonna have to raid my thrift store for some funky finds.
Right, right. So if you want to make this removable like this one is, there's a lip that goes around this. And so I'm going to form this lip using a 2-part clay.
So you're actually going to make the lip. And so if people aren't familiar with A and B, the idea is that this is completely unactivated. It's not an adhesive. It won't do anything. But as soon as I mix these two together, then it becomes something that actually adheres and essentially dries so that it, you know, it's a permanent hold.
You got it. You got it. And it will be waterproof also, which is kind of important
I was gonna say,
for this project.
It feels like it ought to be.
So I like to make a Tootsie Roll kind of a ridge around here. And you'll want to work it in and to kind of press this down. And if you find
I noticed that you're only working on half. Now, if you were home, would you do also work in this in pieces, or do you try to do the whole thing at once?
You can definitely work in pieces. That's one of the great things about this type of a product is you can kind of work in stages, but just know once you mix it, you have a limited time to work with it, but you can continue to add to it in any stage of setup.
I find it always easy when I'm doing larger things to work in smaller pieces. I don't know why. I think maybe my brain just works better and I don't have to think about the whole overall thing somehow.
Right. So what I'm going to do is test fit, and to do that I just put a piece of plastic bag down to make sure that this is still going to sit on here, but this is going to cure and make a hard ridge all the way around. So it's going to be easy to take it off and remove it and clean it, and everything will be wonderful. So I'm going to leave this one sitting here.
Okay.
And I will pick back up with this. So I have a hard ridge already here going, and I've already added some tiles to it just to dress it up. You don't have to. You could use anything that you like here. So I'm going to use the clay in your hand.
It is mixed, I believe it's one color.
It is one color, and this comes in many colors, so you can...
So it's just like grout. I remember when we were redoing our bathrooms and our kitchen and stuff like that, it's amazing how many grout colors there are, and it's actually crazy how it changes the color of the tile when you change the color of the grout. I'm always reminded that color is relational. And so it really matters, like those glass tiles on a dark background would be so different than they are on that sort of light background.
Great. So what I'm doing is I'm just pressing the tiles in, and you can leave it just like, it looks pretty finished to me.
It's beautiful.
And so we'll just keep going around, and that's how fast it is too.
It is, and it feels like this is something, you could also do this with broken china, you could do this with shells, you could do it with whatever you sort of have around that you like. Now, could you do this with a natural material, like let's say dried wood, like twigs or sticks or wood? Is that a bad idea?
To make a basin?
To decorate.
Oh, to decorate? You could, anything that you can have outside, and that's gonna be weatherproof. And okay for bees and butterflies.
So like rocks,
so pretty
twigs,
much anything.
all
rocks,
that kind
twigs,
of stuff would
marbles,
be fine.
all of that is fine. So that's going around that, and I will just move on to the next step.
Cool.
So we're kind of done with that piece.
Awesome.
I'll replace, and now I'm going to use this one again. So one of the really important things about these being bee and butterfly friendly for our pollinators is to make sure that there are islands or something for them to climb on once they get into the water to help them to get out. And you can do that simply by adding cork or something that floats. Some people put a little mulch, sticks, anything for them to climb on in here.
I was gonna say, if we look at some of the finished examples, there are some beautiful, you can see how the cork is in there. There's, I don't know if, I'm not good at stones, but this pretty pink thing in here is absolutely beautiful.
That was a plate, actually, and I have that right here. Look at this. That was a plate that I used, and I used this clay to build up
and this is just a stone of some kind that's in there to act as an island. I love this like magical rock tower. It feels like you're making a little fairy village for bees because you're trying to think of all the little places that they could alight, because obviously you don't want them to drown in this. You want them to be able to find a place. And butterflies too need somewhere to alight in order to drink from it.
Right. So I have a 2-part paste, similar to the clay. You want to mix to activate, mix vigorously is your key, and you want to do that for about 2 minutes.
So here's the thing about adhesive that I'm always curious, like why you're using certain adhesives in certain places. So first, obviously, we used a clay adhesive. Now we're using a paste adhesive. Like, why can't we just use the same adhesive the whole time?
Well, because this one's more self-leveling.
Okay.
And it's easier to mix on the hands, which is, again, why you don't have to do a rim like this. You could take a pre-existing bird bath, you could take any kind of a top, and you could just simply do this type of a technique in there.
I'm way too in love with my idea of going to the thrift store and buying all the weird different things and sticking them together to make a magical totem pole for a bee. I feel like that sounds like a really fun idea.
So this dumps out, as you can see, really easily, and I'm not gonna have to sit and squash this into place. I added a little bit of super fine glitter to it, and this is how we're just gonna cover up the bottom of this.
Oh my gosh, if you added super fine glitter to it, that's actually a great way to control your glitter, because oftentimes anybody who's used glitter knows it goes everywhere.
It does.
I swear, I have glitter on the stairs to my studio right now from a project I did like 4 months ago. You cannot get rid of glitter, but this keeps it sort of more controlled, right?
Yes, so you can use water to smooth this out and put this where you want it. And this will self-level out quite a bit. So we're gonna be quick about this. And I'm working on a turntable, which makes this really—
Makes it much easier.
It is, but it's not totally necessary. So that's pretty smooth for what we're gonna do. You have some marbles over there. So
I do.
If you want to come over and drop these into there.
And will you tell me about the rock towers while I'm doing that?
Yes, so the rock towers over here, again, this is something that bees can climb up on too, and you could make this simply for a bird bath also that you already have pre-existing, just to help the bees and the butterflies to be able to get a drink. And so what I did here was I used some of that clay and I adhered rocks together to do that when Julie's done there.
Well, there you go. You can get the basic idea, because honestly, this is something that satisfies me. I could spend 6 hours going ahead and just popping some stones in there because they're just so pretty.
They are. You could sprinkle them in too.
Well, I would say you're brave like that. You just kind of go, psh, and it looks good. I'm a little more scaredy cat about it. But if I look at some of these beautiful finished pieces, I can see that you've done square tiles, you've done little rocks, you've done some that have little stones. So this really is, you could take anything out of your garden. If you wanted a purely natural look, you could even take like pebbles that you naturally had around and dump them.
Right, you could. And so when you're all done with that, the nice thing about adhering the rocks together is that you don't have to sit and try to reform them, and you don't have to worry about another animal coming through and plowing them over like a squirrel or something else that would be able to get into the top of the basin. And you just sprinkle it with your rocks.
Now, you told me that you put one of these in your yard specifically because you had a bee problem.
I did. This is my experience. So my family keeps bees. And every summer we have a lot of bees in our yard, as you can imagine. We have 10 hives, and they're several acres away, but they still forage. Each bee has over 1 million flowers that they visit in their lifetime. And so they're constantly looking for water. They're constantly flying around getting their pollen. And what happened was they would be in the yard. And so since I put one of these out, I put it in a location kind of away from where I didn't want them to be. By us, so I put it in like a garden on the corner. that I can admire. And so they just come there now because it becomes part of their flight pattern. They go back, they find a water source, they tell their friends, they do their little waggle dance, and they all start coming to get water, which will bring pollinators to any kind of a garden that you might have.
And I was going to say, you no longer have a bee problem, right? Because their flight pattern includes just going to find water.
Correct. And these are honeybees, just to be specific. These are not wasps.
Yes.
So I can't vouch for a wasp problem, but for honeybees, they really, yes, and watering our bee friends is so important. And
I'm going to do this.
However,
I'm going to the thrift store. I'm going to find all the goodies. Thank you so much. I love that you dressed in your butterfly best.
I did. Thank you. Thank you.
This is super exciting. I hope you're excited too.